Guess I'm gonna have to just have the intro later. I don't know what happened to it. welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football with Jason and the coach, but just Jason tonight. What's up, everybody? Good to see everybody. Before we get started, want to tell everybody, make sure you hit that like button. But hey, everybody, say a quick prayer for the coach. He's got some personal stuff going on with his family, and I don't really want to talk about what it is, but we won't let him keep it his business. But just want everybody to know that we're thinking about him tonight, and we need to keep him in our thoughts and prayers. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome in. Want to have everybody go ahead and kind of call the shots on what we're going to talk about a little bit tonight. I got a couple ideas of some things we probably should talk about. Thank you. Thanks, Stephen G. Appreciate that. Legend. Thank you, Chicken. Good to see you in here as well. Let me know whenever you make it in. Wipe your feet and let me know what you guys want to talk about. I'm assuming most everybody saw the video that I did earlier about Ollie Gordon. We can talk a little bit about that if you guys want to. Sooner Lemon, what's up, man? Good to see you, my friend. I wear slippers, I swear. Hangster, where you been, man? Where you been? Sooner Cowboys? Yeah, here we go. I'm starting to fill up a little bit. Fill up. Yeah, did you guys like that? That was mostly just a troll job. I know you guys know that, but it was fun. I had a good time. You know, they're probably not liking it up in Stillwater. Oh, triggered. That was fun. I had a good time with that. Bear Alexander in the portal. Yeah, Sooner Cowboys. I like it. What's up, Collins? Good to see you, man. Good to see you in here. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, Bear Alexander in the portal. What's up with that? You know, I was talking a little bit to USCJ though earlier because I got to tell you, man, I'm surprised. Damn, I'm pretty. I am pretty, right? Or are you saying I'm petty? You just put the R in there on accident. Been chasing your tail and losing. Why? Why? Spring game on the radio. I'm excited about that too. Excited about the spring game, man. I cannot wait to see some freaking football. Just ready. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate that. All right. Yeah, look. Thoughts on the Bear reporting. You know, I don't know. I guess I'd like to have you guys' thoughts on it. I would say that it doesn't surprise me a whole lot. This is a guy that left a national championship football team to run off to Alex Grinch and Lincoln Riley. Seems a little weird to me. And he was a starter, in those last couple of games that year. So it seems a little weird to me. I think look, man, some of these guys, that's just the way they live. It's the way they live. So, there's a lot of talent there, but I wouldn't want anything to do with it, right? Something I would be, talking about chasing money. If he's having to chase money at USC, it makes you wonder what the hell's going on out there, right? Because and I know we've heard stuff like that about from what supposedly happened with Jordan Addison, some other guys. You kind of wonder what's up with that, He's going to Ole Miss, watching. Now, would that surprise you, Collins? Probably not. That's what they're going to do. But see, he was already at Texas A&M, and then he started off, went to A&M. I think he was just there for the spring and then transferred to Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. And then stayed at Georgia for a year, and he was gone already. Pretty wild, man. Pretty wild. Take much stock in what? Yeah. Yeah, but it didn't seem like, apparently, the talk out of there, right, was when they knew that they were going to fire Alex Grinch, which we all know that was Lincoln's passing the buck. And I'm not really taking up for Alex because I don't think he's that good. But I would say that a lot of that kind of stuff, it happens with some. they were the defense wouldn't even like talk to him whenever he was trying to tell him goodbye and stuff. They wouldn't even acknowledge Alex Grinch. Apparently, from what I understand, he was real hard on him. Apparently, so was Mason Cobb. Heard a lot of that kind of stuff coming out of there. The thing is that it sounds like this new defensive staff, from what USCJ was telling me, is that Lincoln has nothing to do with it. That's it. He's doing his offense and they're going to do what they do. Now, what I would tell you is that, yeah, the word culture, that means something, because you got to wonder if they're going to be able to kind of, I don't know, man. They're doing on defense and offense. You can't be totally separate. You got to kind of have some synergy and be on the same page. I still think, because I don't know that Lincoln really knows what to do to help out the other side of the football. Now, and I'm not going to get in here and listen. I got to say that I'm kind of surprised at what I'm seeing here. They're recruiting real deal. They may end up with the number one class in the country. Another one that's freaking killing it right now, 247 has Notre Dame firmly in the lead. Now, they've got the most recruits so far. I don't think they're going to end up at number one. I think USC could, but I do think Oklahoma could too. Texas had a player kicked out. He's going to Ohio State. Is he? Are you just saying that, or are you just... Darnold. Man, I don't know. Well, Tampa Bay on the ready as well. Well, watching them and having anything to do with it, I don't know. According to what Jay said, that they basically have autonomy, Danton Lynn and his guys. And you think they've had Aaron Donald out there quite a bit, because their defensive line coach came from the Rams. A lot of guys up there. Yeah, I was fixing to bring that up too, Stephen G. I'll get right to that. New theme song is "I'm a High-Tech Redneck." Again, I think that for us Oklahoma fans, and I'm kind of actually hoping to do a little bit of work with USCJ. I like that guy, and he works. You talk about a hard worker. He is in the middle of it, paying attention to exactly what's going on every day. I tend to believe what he's talking about. Now, do I trust in Lincoln not being full of shit? Probably not. But I think it's pretty clear that this defensive staff knows what it's doing, because they're out there pulling. They pulled the number one defensive tackle in the country away from Georgia. He's been committed to Georgia for a year. All of a sudden, he's going to SC. And is it about money? I don't think so, because if we're talking about what was going on with Bear, if that's a money thing, how did he not get paid? This guy's he was a 5-star too. It's unbelievable to me. It's just weird, right? How many kids got in trouble with Riley compared to BV exactly? In trouble in what way, chicken? Yeah, these guys are all over the place. So that's the one thing I would say about it. The one thing is Lincoln going to run his offense so that it is more complementary to the other side of the ball and vice versa? Because I still think you have to do that. And I still think, and this is something that we were talking about on Legend Show yesterday, man, having a special teams coordinator, somebody it's not like an afterthought where everybody's kind of pitching in, but nobody's really, that's not their focus. The more and more I've seen, we've seen it a lot. Of all fans, we know as well as anybody how important little things are in the special teams, right? I grew up in a system where I went to high school and stuff, where They call it special forces. It was real deal. It was important, all phases. And I think that it's still that way. And if you could be more fundamentally sound, you're going to have a better opportunity. But I just don't know that. Can Lincoln set his own ego aside as to, well, we can just outscore everybody? I don't know that he's ready to do that. It's just weird to me. But they're going to have a quarterback competition. I saw, hey, you know what? On that video that I did, I was talking about that I hadn't seen any more of those predictions or those whatever they were calling it. What is that? Let's see. Oh, it's right here. The transfer portal nightmare potential scenarios. Jalen Daniels to USC. They just posted it, I guess, this morning or last night. So Jalen Daniels to USC. So the Ollie Gordon thing isn't necessarily. I don't understand why they're doing this, though, to be honest with you. It seems weird to me. Yeah, let's talk about this a little bit. Opinion on the switch to Friday night for the opening game of the season. Some fans are angry with the change. It's the first time in history for Oklahoma football that they've had a game on Friday night. I'm not sure what I think about it yet. I don't know. What do you guys think? Then the recruiting thing, I could see that too. But here's the thing. I mean, this time of the year in a home game, and if it was in the afternoon or, early afternoon, and because you're either going to play it too with the SEC, you're probably going to be playing a lot of 2:00 games and after. They don't love the 11 o'clock game start time or whatever, right? Your marquee games are more going to start at like that 2:00 Eastern, whatever, or that window, whatever you want to call it. But to me, that time of year, we're talking August, end of August, so it would be the 30th instead of the 31st. It's hotter than shit at 2:00. It'll still be pretty hot at 5 too, though. So the good news is the sun will go down at some point and it won't be brutal. I think that'll help because I think the early part of the season, and I would hope that the Tennessee game's a night game too, because man, that's going to be brutal, in week 4. I'm going to guess that it probably is like that though, right? Don't you think? Let's see what we got here. Who's embarrassing the university? What? Yeah. Hype in the spring portal to where I'm kind of worried. Look, that's something, and Jay's been saying a lot, and I don't know if he's in here in the comments a lot, but nothing that I've heard, nothing that anybody who's been talking about with Oklahoma, it's a little quiet and maybe a little too quiet for a lot of people's I get what you're saying, Kyle. What I would tell you is I said this in Twitter earlier. I don't know that you're probably going to see a whole lot of this moving forward. Now, this whole deal, and he is hyping that whole thing. And look, clearly he's heard some stuff from different places. From one of the things that stood out in my mind was he was talking about entire groups of players, secondary or whatever, is gone, and they've already got the guys to replace them headed their way in. Now, that's wild. But I think if you did start seeing some of these, nightmare scenarios like Ollie Gordon and Jalen Daniels and stuff like that, if you were to see something like that, which I don't know why Jalen would leave. I guess if you were wanting to go to USC, but to be honest with you, Lance Leipold probably in a better position. You just need to keep the kid healthy, right? You got to keep him healthy. So I don't know. But I think whatever shoe falls that makes that, whatever makes the Caden Proctor thing seem like no big thing, what can that be? Because that's wild. So if this turns into, hey, we start contracts and you get to slow this portal thing down and maybe, you know, all that. But I got to tell you, the thing that I'm seeing the most, and I think that it's probably, right now I'm enamored with what's going on with this recruiting. Day after day, we're getting crystal balls for 4-star guys. You know, the guy from the other day that we were talking about, that guy's a 4 or 5-star all day long. All day long. Unbelievable. I mean, the guy looks like an alpha dog right off the bat. Super athlete. He has a lot of offers from big schools that tells you that he's that guy. And that's why I was saying it on Legend Show yesterday that I don't care about the stars, man. I just don't. But what I'm seeing is you're seeing a lot of buy-in. You're not hearing about a lot of, and you wouldn't hear a ton of it because that's not the way they are, but you're not hearing a whole lot of, you guys know what I'm talking about. There's things that happen and you start getting whispers out of the building. It happened a lot when Lincoln was around, right? Oh, we got a super chat here. Hey, Neelio. What's up, man? Good evening, Mr. Jason. Hoping everybody's having a nice Tuesday evening. Here's to a great show. Thanks, man. Appreciate you, Neil. Good to see you back in here. I saw where you were watching. I was watching the K-State deal with Fitz and those guys last night when I was working. Saw that you jumped on there too. Almost lost old Jerome Tang, man. Almost lost Jerome Tang. Yeah, he is. He's leaving USC there, Jimmy. Hey, man, we got 38 people in here. How many likes we got? Everybody make sure you hit that like button on your way in. Thank you. Let's see how much. I honestly, Jay thinks that nobody's leaving in the portal for the spring. I wouldn't be that surprised if you lost a running back, maybe 2. I wouldn't be that surprised if you lost a receiver or 2. I don't really foresee a ton of other guys leaving, right? Unless, I mean, I just don't really see it. Chicken, what are we talking about here? The embarrassing the university. Who are we? Like, oh, the players getting in trouble like back in the day on his watch or what? What's up, Kim? Good to see you, Thunder. Oh, you sooner. Let me go ahead and give shout outs to everybody who hadn't been in here already. Ryman Lemon, thanks for coming in. Chicken, of course. Let's see who we got. Rob. Spring, I don't take too much stock in that. Spring, what? I don't know exactly what you're talking about there, but Stephen G, of course, thanks again for coming in. Thunder. Kim, good to see you in here as well. Jimmy Satterfield, good to see you. Stink ass cat. What's up, bro? I like that message that you put on the comments earlier. It was funny. Let's see what else we got. Fatty, what's up, my man? He can stay at OSU. Yep. Look, guys, I'm gonna say this one more time. The Ollie Gordon thing, the rumors have been out there, and it's been funny to watch, you know, the meltdown that's been going on in Stillwater. I mean Stillwater. You know, but it's and that's mostly what I was doing, just picking on him. You know, the little for the alerts or whatever. Yeah. I love how every SEC homer pod thinks Oklahoma's winning 6 or 7 games. Yeah. Hey, you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. You know, it's to me, it's just
that is blasphemous. That is blasphemous.
Not happening. Blasphemous. Silly talk. Bullshit. I just don't see it, man. Yeah. Now, here's one thing I would say, and I didn't really get it. I think I may have said it in the video, but if he enters the portal, I'd give the dude a scholarship just to keep him off an SEC roster. I don't want to deal with that dude. I think he'd be smart to get out of there, though. I really do. I think that they're in trouble. I predicted their demise maybe a year early, but I think they're in deep shit still. Well, true. You're worried about the wide receiver room and the DBs. You know, what we were kind of talking about, I'm not that worried about. See, that's what when we were talking about the guys that you seem to be getting in the secondary, though, Hank. And if you think about this, this is where what I'm liking about it is that, look, these guys, they seem like those alpha male types that they're like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to go in there and carve out my own spot. And the guys that don't care about what's in the room, whether it's the secondary or the receivers or whatever, and man, can you imagine? There's not a ton of differences between them, most of them. You know, they all seem to have a lot of speed. They all seem to be headhunters. This is a good problem to have. The ones that end up cycling out because they can't make it onto the field, okay, they lost the competition. They may end up being really good somewhere else, and you can't really blame them for going. But if somebody decided not to come there because they don't want to compete, you don't want that guy, right? You don't want that guy. If they lose the job, okay, I understand. But look at the depth. I mean, I had that list out. Shit. That list of guys that was, I think it's in this other book. I was reading it on Legends channel yesterday. And I mean, dude, the 24 class is ridiculous. Ridiculous. You know, Reggie Powers, Jaden Hardy, Michael Boganowski, Eli Bowen, Michael Patterson McDonald, Devon Jordan, Jeremiah Newcomb. Nobody's really talked about Jeremiah Newcomb, really. But then you got Malaska from Utah and Des Malone as well. I mean, dude, that's freaking 9 guys from just this year that's in the secondary, right? Add in the from the year before, Peyton Bowen, Makari Vickers, Josiah Wagner, Kendall Doby, Eric McCarty, Jacoby Johnson. You know, you still have Jaden Rowe, Kanai Walker, Robert Spears Jennings, Gentry Williams. There's a lot of guys, and they're still loading up. They still go get Wimberly. They've still got the kid from Carl Albert as well, Trinae Washington. That dude looks like a freaking stud too. We just hadn't really talked a lot about him because he committed in November. You know, I'm not too worried about it though, to be honest. What's up, Mars? Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. Let's see, Fatty. You hear us? Ollie Gordon transfers to OU. Yeah. It wouldn't even be complaining. The thing is that you see a side of those guys, and even Cody's been a little bit like that. I've told him a few times, don't talk to me like that about Kelly Maxwell, because I don't want to hear it. And I think it's insanity, the shit that they say about her. And Trace, for that matter, you know? What do they owe them? Because here's where I'm always at on it. At what point does Mike Gundy owe it to somebody else, to owe it to these kids that have committed to him and they've failed, you know, with keeping Casey Dunn's sorry ass around? You know what I mean? You know, they threw Spencer, and I'm not a Spencer Sanders guy, but they threw that cat under the bus. They still hated on him after whatever happened at Ole Miss. He tried to come back, and they showed him zero loyalty from there. He couldn't have just had a bad day. And you're going to tell me there wasn't bad shit going on at the end of that season? They lost like 5 out of their last 6. Got boat raced by freaking pretty much everybody boat raced their ass down at the end of the season. It was unreal. Unreal. Yeah. No, the portal is, it's risky, right? It's risky because, again, I think it's the same story, Sooner Cowboys, is you recruit your problems, right? One of the things I've been most impressed with is that, and if you paid attention to what Venables has said in his press conferences, I think that when the portal season got over with and the whole recruiting season got over with, and they were talking about the guys that they didn't land. And he said, didn't land, didn't chase. He said, we're intentional about what we do. And I think that there's a difference between Dabo and that, because he came from that, but he's evolved as to where Dabo's digging in. So is Mike Gundy. And that's the things that I was talking about more than anything else when it came to the stuff with Ollie Gordon. It's not about me caring. I don't give a shit about whether he shows up at Oklahoma or not. I don't think they have to have him. Now, he had 1,700 yards in 9 games last year, folks. He's a baller. Does he fit the locker room? That's not for me to know. That's for Oklahoma to know if they were going to recruit him. But you know damn good and well that they would make that assessment and decide whether or not to go after him. And chances are they wouldn't, right? Maybe they wouldn't. But the fact that, look, I was saying this about because Cody got messed with about having those kids on. He had the backup quarterback on there, Rangel. He had one of the new kids. He was a transfer in from Arizona State. I think his name is Glass, big kid. And then the punter for sure, that Australian kid, and I think one more. And OSU cut it off with the kids and sent a letter to Cody. Now, my thing about that was, okay, in the NIL time now, and I understand that the SID, I mean, look, I was a reporter for a long time, and you had to do everything through the SID, particularly at Oklahoma State. Texas Tech was like that a lot, but not quite as strict as like OU, and Okie Light was kind of like that too. Not as much when Les was there, but when Gundy took over, it definitely got that way pretty quick, right? But to me, in this NIL time, particularly, I don't know that they have a leg to stand on as far as not allowing that to happen. Now, I'm not really ready to push that envelope with Oklahoma yet, but you're seeing Venables is allowing it more. And the reason that you kind of have to is because you have to allow these guys, because of the fact that you don't have, particularly Oklahoma State, he's balking at the freaking NIL stuff. He doesn't want it. He don't want shit to do with it. He told the collectives that he didn't need all that he'd rather use that money for facilities, that they have amazing facilities at Oklahoma State, by the way. And the players don't give a shit about that anymore. That's not a recruiting tool for you anymore. And they suck at recruiting anyway. You'd think that he would embrace that. At least allow these guys. And from what Cody said, a lot of those guys are like, man, that are coming from other places. They're like, man, this seems a little weird to me. You know, it just seems a little weird to me. You got another super chat from Stink. He says the way they acted towards Sanders, the way they're going down here, Sanders would have helped them last year. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. And it's just this inability. He's never, all the stuff that you were hearing about Casey Dunn, where, you know, they were alleging like abuse and verbal abuse, but abusive behavior and it's not one player or two players that were saying that kind of shit. We're talking about a large group of them on that offense. Think about it. They lost like 20-something guys to the portal that when Sanders left. And then he was willing to come back, you know, and they've treated him awfully. The things that they say about Kelly Maxwell, not cool, man. You don't talk like that about women. You just don't do that. Bunch of assholes, man. It's just, I don't know, man. But yes, they would lose their shit if Ollie ended up at Oklahoma. And it would almost be worth giving him a scholarship just to do that. But at what point do you, I still, it blows my mind every time we start talking about this stuff with Oklahoma State, how the people there, then the fans, by and large, are so completely loyal to that man and to that staff. They haven't even done shit. He's got them believing that all those wins over that 10-year period or whatever against a bunch of sorry ass squads. You know, anybody that had a winning record, he's got 3 winning records against non-conference opponents, or 3 wins against non-conference opponents with winning records in the Power 5. 3. I guess 4 because they beat A&M in the bowl game last year, you know, with their defensive line coach playing, you know, being the head coach, de facto head coach, and the 4th-string, 5th-string quarterback. Whipped his shit. But whatever. But that's, I mean, literally those wins, if it's a 10-win team, they were what, 13-33? You know, I guess it changed probably some this past year or whatever, 10-win teams. But I mean, it's all smoke and mirrors with this guy. And he gets away with everything. He gets away with whatever the shit he wants. All right, let me get through some of these. Let's see. Where the hell did I go? Dude, that Wimberly dude is a monster, right? Jimmy, did you watch this film? Well, I'm going to pull up his film in a minute. That dude's a bad dude. Uh-huh. Let's see. I think Dabo. Hey, man, can you imagine if Florida State whoops the shit out of Dabo and Clemson this year with DJU playing quarterback? That's going to be a bad look. Who did you think was gone, Neil? Development is the key. And then, of course, identifying talent, you know, being able to identify, spot the talent, and then, of course, developing. Absolutely, man. Ryan Day's beard dye. This is a solid name, bro. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in. Love that. Ryan Day's beard dye. Rob 00 or 077 getting 5 to 10 players from the portal each season in your core is coming from high school. That's okay. Other than your team chemistry and synergy will cook your team. Look, man, yeah, I think that we saw what happened with Coach Prime. He went way over the line last year with that. He could have probably kept some of those guys even from a 1-11 team and made it a little better, right? Especially once you got into a problem with depth, because they just didn't have it. And you don't know if you got that many dudes that transferred. I think it was like, 60 guys or some shit. They were bag chasing for sure. Yeah. Potential top 10 Arizona team coming to town. You think they're top 10, Neil? I'm not sure that I believe that, but it's early season, so I guess. But I mean, look, Fafita and McMillan are all that, and then that Lamonius Craig kid's pretty good too, and he'll be back. Soul mission is important. Kim, I like this. I saw that, kind of skimmed past it earlier. Yeah, and I think you're right. And that's what they're sticking to. They're wanting to make sure that they can build some kind of actual relationship with the kid that they're recruiting. Everyone that we've talked to has said that. Every one of them. When I talked to Makari Vickers, that was one of the things that he talked about the most, that it was so impressive. And his family is very religious. I think his dad's a pastor. Mr. Ron. Cool people, right? But he said some of the people, I know Soul Mission, it's not just at Oklahoma. They've got it in some other places, but you can tell when they're using that as a recruiting tool to kind of, win over parents or whatever. It seems like LSU kind of pulled a few of those. McKinley's mom was a little upset with them. I think had it not been for, and that guy ended up getting fired off that roster, which is why I think Dominic ended up there. Obviously that and Jimbo, him going back into the recruiting pin, and then, but that guy was gone, and now Bo Davis is there, so it makes sense. But kids, and of course parents, you can tell when that's bullshit. This is how they live at Oklahoma, and all those coaches are like that. And I think that that's how you have to build first and foremost. It can't, if the kids know that you don't care about anything but your own career, they see that immediately, and they're going to be the same way. They're going to be the same way. We're going to get good play up front. Fatty, here's one thing I want to say about that. And I've been seeing a lot more of that kind of stuff on the comment section that, and then I saw that, Legend was talking about that there was somebody the other night, and I'm sure you guys know who it is, that was saying that he's sick of hearing MBB we trust and shit like that. Okay, don't trust MBB then. Trust in the fact that they're going to go up against that nasty defensive line every damn day from now until freaking August 30th. You're either going to get better or die. No? I mean, I understand that. Look, one side maybe it's always like that, though. You got one side that gets better faster, particularly spring, early summer, stuff like that. Even into the fall camp, you'll have one side that looks better early, and then the other side kind of catches up, right? Think about that. You're going to tell me that from spring all the way through the end of fall camp, that offensive line is going to go up against those monsters and waves of those monsters day after day after day, and they're still going to be the same as they are today right now when they get into game time? Shit. I'm not worried about the offensive line. I'm not. And you can say about BB if you want to. You can say it about whatever the hell you think. I think that iron sharpens iron. We got a bunch of guys that are over 6'4", 6'5", and 300 freaking pounds. Something tells me they'll get tired of getting their ass kicked, and they'll find a way. That's just kind of the way competition works. You figure out a way. I just think so, man. Will Quinn have more picks than Jackson Arnold this year? Oof. Quinn throws picks. We're not going to get into Jackson Arnold bashing on this show there, Ryan Day. Yeah. Some guys are going to come and go, Rob. They just are. The wide receiver room is unbelievable. It's going to be really good, too. The DB room wasn't even that bad last year. And think about it. Kenai Walker, early in the season when he was getting in, he kind of seemed like a liability. When Gentry went down the last 3 or 4 games when he really wasn't in that much, different animal, right? Same thing with Gibson. Remember what we were talking about after the spring game? Hankster, remember what we were talking about after the spring game about maybe he should get into the portal? Now, I know you were always one of the guys who was like, we need him. He's got to figure it out because you saw the talent there. But we weren't seeing him get it together. I thought that his days were numbered at Oklahoma. And by the end of the year, and he dropped a couple of balls earlier in the season, by the end of the year, he was the alpha dog in that receiving room. And he kind of still is from everything we're hearing. Yeah. But again, okay, so let's get back to this thing right here. The O-line in the running back room. In the running back room, kind of, first off, my concern, if I have a concern with the running back room, I'm wondering what's going on with DeMarco and his maturation as a coach and his ability to kind of work and play well with others a little bit too. We heard some stuff about what was going on in there, the way that he handled. I would tell you that Javonte Barnes being in the Bedlam game was criminal, if you ask me, and giving him a damn direct snap when he hadn't seen the field in a month. I hated that. He said he was hurt. Why was he in? Why is Tawi not in right there? Or Gavin? Gavin Sawchuk just had a freaking 40-yard run right before that. Don't tell me he was winded. Put him in the game. He hadn't been playing the whole first half of the season. Or at least put Tawi in. Why Javonte was in at that point was in the critical time of the game, and he obviously had no intention of fielding that snap. I hated that. We blamed a lot of that on Levy. That wasn't just Levy. Hey, Fatty, that was another thing I was saying. Might be one of the things you got to do is play 6 in the back end because of the fact that shit, that's where all your studs are. Yeah. Oh, you invented it. I love that too. Mm-hmm. Cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. I'm way behind you guys, ain't I? No, they should not. I don't think that Oklahoma went after him when he went to SC, did they? I've heard a couple of people that said that the collective was putting something together to maybe offer him. I don't think there was ever a question. I'm pretty sure he was tampered out of Georgia into USC. I don't think there was ever a second thought about where he was going. Yep. Yeah. Man, but here's the thing about that. Man, the league was, well, as good as they were during the regular season. They were trash in the tournament, but when you got to go up against that night after night, you can go get what you can get. I don't want him either. Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah, you have to have a GM of sorts. And I think that that's kind of what they have. And I would tell you that I think that the guy that runs the Salt mission is kind of responsible for some of that. But all of them as recruiters, and I think who did they decide finally? I mean, I don't even think I've asked this question, but who is the main recruiter or the recruiting coordinator? I don't even know who it is. Well, he did, but it was enough to match, I think, what Mizzou offered, because Mizzou, you know what they were doing. But if that now the point that I was making about that is that money doesn't mean shit. Look at Caden Proctor. He had $100,000. He didn't pay it back. He didn't even play it down. $100,000 back to Tuscaloosa. I don't know if the dude's ever going to be allowed back in the state. It's crazy. But the point is that Ollie could, I mean, whatever they gave to him, he doesn't know that. I mean, that's between him and the collective. This is the whole point of the NIL. Doesn't really hold you to anything or anybody. Some of these collectives they're not just a collective for one school even. So if you were to decide to leave, they can get their money out of you elsewhere, or their work out of you, whatever, for the money that they've paid you. I don't really like that. But I'm just going to tell you this again. This is not a contract, an official contract between you and the school. The collective is supposedly, getting money on behalf of the school for you, for the player. And I'm not saying they're all bad. In fact, I think the OU collective is pretty good. What I would tell you is, technically, it does not hold you to shit. Clearly. Contracts are the only way, guys. Contracts are the only way. Yes, they did. This is a fine statement, Kyle. A fine statement. Forever Bedlam champions. That's such a lame ass thing that they say anyways, brother. I don't give a shit what you say, that forever bullshit or all-time Bedlam. Look at the record. You've won 20 of them. 91-20. Yeah. Oh, he's good. He did get paid, but the thing that I would tell you is that somebody else could come offer more. You're going to tell me that Texas couldn't offer him more if they decided they needed him in there? Now, he's not a Texas guy. He's made it clear that he was pissed that Texas took so long to even give him an offer. Really pissed. But that didn't really help him. He's got one Big 12 championship, brother. One, not two. He's got one. He's got a bunch of appearances and gag jobs in the Big 12 championship game. He didn't even win a championship game the year that he won the championship. They didn't have a championship game. If that had been that, he probably wouldn't even have it. Well, they're definitely talking the same bullshit when it comes to the portal, when it comes to paying the players. Meanwhile, he's getting $12 million a year, and to win 9 games now. I'm telling you, they're going to be in deep shit if DJU beats them, and they let DJU get out of there because they thought Cade was the guy. It wasn't about the receivers. It wasn't about the fact that Dabo refuses to change up the Clemson offense. It's going to be a bad look. It's going to be a bad look. We got to get we're going to have to get our boy, our Clemson guy in here to talk. Yeah. You know what that stink ass, were you the one that was saying at that time about what that whole I'm a man act was? Because it was not, he was not yelling at another guy. He was screaming at a woman reporter. And it had nothing to do with the player that he was talking about or players. Had nothing to do with that. It had to do with her questioning their coaching methods. Had shit to do with the player. That was the biggest bullshit acting job I've ever seen in my life. I've never, ever had respect for Mike Gundy after that. Yeah. That's, we talked about that with Shoddy a couple of times, man. I think that's a risky move on Coach Prime's part. He might be able to recruit pretty well, and he might even be able to coach them up pretty good. Having them around kids a lot and, being, I don't know. Mm-mm. Yeah, man, that dude, Wimberly that guy's a headhunter, man. I'm going to pull that video up. Hold on. Find that cat. All right, so do you say the name of that high school? Is it Bozite? Bauxite? Would that make it Bozite, Arkansas? Seems like it would. Or am I just doing too much of that Cajun thing? Like go Tigers. Go Tigers. Hold on. Look at this. This is him running the ball. He's fast as shit. Like this dude. Okay, yeah. That kid didn't want to play no more, I promise. Look at that speed, guys. And he's huge. I like the way you finished that. I said it right. Yeah, that was Jenny Carlson. You're right. Mm-hmm. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We're going to see that one again. Look at this. Killed him. Oh, that poor bastard. Hey, chicken, we'll see you later, buddy. Good to see you. Oh, he's just hurting them kids. When they start thinking about it before they catch the football, you know you got them. And when a receiver would rather catch it around the yard of scrimmage, boom, bro, this guy just he knocks the shit out of people. Bow. Yeah, I don't care how many stars he has. I don't. Look at this. Watch this. Killed the blocker. Just blew the blocker up. That's a dog. That's a dog. Here we go. High points it. You look at it, deliver a blow now with the ball. That dude's a stud, man. That dude's a stud. Hitless like Reggie Powers. He does. Yeah, Reggie has film like that. He does. He's got speed, bro. Okay, right, working out of the slot here. Oh, he likes to get straight, north and south. Yeah, man. He eats up those white lines. Oh, yeah, we like him already. Playing quarterback. He doesn't do a lot of jukes, folks. He's just a north and south runner when he's running. Yeah. Yes, I agree. Malik Hawkins is a Sooner, guys. That's happening. That's happening. And the other kid, too. I think they're both coming. And Malik is underrated, too, just like his brother was. Same kid a year apart. One decided to play defensive back like his pops. That story, Mike Sr. was talking about how how Michael became a quarterback because he was coaching his little league team or whatever, and he needed a leader on that side of the ball. So he started him at quarterback, and he said, and he goes, and my intention was always to make him go back to being the DB, but that's not what he wanted. Yeah. Hey, he is brother. I'm telling you, I think that they have to find reasons to, they need to work him into the game in some way. I'm not saying to take Jackson out. I'm saying put them both in. He's a weapon. The dude's a 4-3 guy. He's a 4-3 guy. His film we saw from last year, he had like 2 90-yard touchdown runs in the same game. And I mean, and we're not talking about that, not the last 10 yards where he's like gassing and everything else. That was not the case. The dude was flat out just dogging everybody. It was crazy, right? Yeah. 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 And Emilio, you're not wrong. I think that Caleb Hicks is kind of like that too. I mean, if you look at, he's really impressive looking as far as body style is concerned. He's been looking really good as far as the what he's been doing too. But I would say that X Rob is going to be good. He's going to be good, real good. We're getting him though, man. We're getting him. Yeah, but again, this is what I've been saying a lot of is you got to stop looking at the stars so much. But first off, there's 32 5-stars every year, 32. So, and it's so subjective, man. And it's generally the 5-star guys. They're going to all the camps, or as I've said before, look, Nigel Smith is a 5-star, and tell me Jaden Jackson wasn't a 5-star. Maybe not because he wasn't tall enough to be a 5-star by their measurement charts or whatever the shit you want to call it. The guy's going to be a starter day one over the 5-star, the number one guy. Okay. That's not to say that Stoney may not be a starter too. Right now, Jaden already is. And I think it's strength-wise. But as we saw, Stoney's already at almost 300 pounds. He's already putting the weight on, you know? Yeah, dude. Why do you hate to say that? That's a great thing to know. I love his film too. Let's find him. Let's find him. But to me, I don't care about the stars. I think that you really have to look at who's offering them a scholarship, who wants them to come play. When you see that Wimberley had a list of over 25, 26 schools, you had 7 total Big Ten or SEC schools that offered him. And I think actually 8, because I didn't see Alabama on the 247 list, but I saw it on the on 3 list. So could have been, it was actually 5 SEC schools. What could you not like about that kid? He's already 200 pounds. He's fast. He's tall. And he hits like, he kicks like a random mule is what he's hitting you. He's going to hit your ass. They will rise in the rankings a little bit. I really think so too. I think so too, Jen. I agree with you. And hey, by the way, I liked your comment the other day talking about what you were saying with Eli Bowen. That was good info. I'd kind of forgotten about that. So that was I appreciated that. Welcome into the show, by the way. Well, and I wouldn't say necessarily outperforming them, but there's a difference in some, something I think it was Coop was saying. Well, first, you can't teach big. He's just bigger. Might be just a little meaner right now. Then those Hawaiian/Samoan kids, they love to fight, man. They grow up fighting. They just grow up fighting. And I'm not saying Stoney didn't too, but he's got a lower center of gravity. He maybe just a little bit more advanced. I'd tell you that I don't think that there's any way that by the end of the year, they're not both starting. I just don't think so. But it's great to hear that Sears has been looking good. I've heard that you're seeing the kid from California. I always forget his damn name. Champ Sanders has been looking really good apparently lately. G-Baby's been looking really good. Nigel Smith is looking really good, and they're moving him in and out, I think. I'd love to hear a better report on PJ and him maybe he just needs to get it out of his head. You're a freaking defensive end. Go get the quarterback, bro. Just go. You know what I mean? I think you may be overthinking things. And I think that's a nice comparison to like either that or the guy that recruited him has been recruiting a lot of 5-stars. Therefore, Larry Johnson has 16 first-team All-Americans, and I want to say something like 10 top 5 draft picks. defensive tackle. They call him the Godfather for a reason. Had he continued to show more interest in Ohio State than he did, he's probably a 5-star. If he chose Ohio State, he's guaranteed a 5-star. They do play different positions, and I also think that it's also, again, I think that it's this much, though. I mean, if you watch, I actually watch the games, and sometimes watching the film, you don't really get the right context of what may have been going on in that game, right? I want to say they were playing like one of those other factories, like one in California. I mean, it wasn't Modern Day, but it was one of those schools like that. But it was a ball game, right? And they had some dogs on that team. It wasn't Bosco either, but St. John Bosco's insane too. That's DJU. They all went to St. John Bosco. But they double teamed Stoney early, and Jaden was killing them, right? Killing them. So then they had to move the double team over to Jaden Jackson, and Stoney's killing them. And one of the games that I saw, I forget, I want to say it was against like a school out of North Carolina or something like that. And Stoney was playing hurt. He had like a high ankle sprain. You know how that shit is. That hurts, man. And he was playing on it. And I still think he had a couple of sacks. But you know, those guys, those assholes from Texas, all the Orange Bloods or whatever they were talking, because they were recruiting Jaden Jackson really hard. They don't like to act like they were, but they were. And they were talking about how much better Jaden was than Stoney. And it was like they were there for that game, and it was the night he was hurt. And they were just talking shit because he always talks shit about them. They're studs, man. Sharpen underclassmen. Yeah, I like him. He's what? I think he's a junior, right? Or maybe he has 2 years. Maybe he was a grad. Was he a grad transfer, or he's just a portal guy? Yeah. Yeah, man. Plus, he's just him being a little shorter though, and he's got that 300-pound size. If you think about those dudes in the NFL, the guys that those defensive tackles that I always think about, you know, I played against Brian Urlacher when I was in high school, and he was really good, but they had these little short, big guys on the defensive line. They were short and round, you know, but they would take up blocks for him, and he played it was like a cheetah position in their defense for sure. So, and in college, he played all over the field. He played a lot of safety though. When he got to the Bears though, and they had damn, I just lost his name right now. But that guy was just, I mean, you think about guys like Vince Wilfork and stuff, just monsters, right? Just monster dudes. And I'm not talking about Aaron Donald. I mean, that guy was like built. But a lot of those dudes that are defensive tackles, they're just taking up double teams because they're wide and they're short to the ground, so they got good leverage. And I think a lot of that has to do with, that's the difference between kind of Jackson and Stoney. Stoney's 6'5". It's not that easy to get low. Yeah, 3 tech. Yeah, nose tackle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, nose tackle's a little different. G-Baby's a 3, right? He's more of like a 3 technique. Because he's not, that's what they've been talking about a lot. And, you know, if you heard Teddy and Gay talking about, they want him to gain weight. Yes, it is. 25's looking great. Redshirt junior. Mm-hmm. He's a 3 tech. Correct. Yeah, he's not big enough to play the nose. You know, the nose, you got to be that dude that's, and I'm not saying he's a fat guy. I'm just saying he's shorter to the ground, lower center of gravity, and he's a wide body. He's a big cat, man. Big dude, strong. Yes. Isn't Champ more of a? I thought Champ Sanders was going to play more of that nose tackle role, but he hadn't really put on that weight though, has he? Dante Jones, Neilio. Here, dropping some knowledge here for us, folks. Most underrated Bears linebacker after the famed '85 World Championship season. OU's Dante Jones. You are not wrong. Mm-hmm. Bro. You're going to get Sooner Legend all excited hearing that kind of stuff. That's how he is. Yes, he does. Man. Well, that's what I mean. He's polished, but part of it is strength. I think that his strength is just different than, especially for most freshmen. But I think the same is true for Nigel. He's flashed in a lot of places, and you're going to see a lot more of him. I think you see Nigel as more one of those guys. He really is kind of like a who they always comp him to, you know. The Browns guy. I'm always missing names, but the Browns defensive lineman, you know, from A&M. Myles Garrett. Kind of similar, right? Because he moves around that line and he's just different. You know, he's not. But that you want to talk about a stud athlete, and that's why I see the same out of Stone and Nigel. They're just and Stone and Nigel look a lot alike. But Nigel, if you remember when he talked to us, his plan is to not get bigger than like 270. He just doesn't want to. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I think that Grayson's doing good. But I think that the fact is that they've got guys that are just edge rushers got to be they're like LeBron James, man. The good ones are like LeBron against the rest of the league. Big, but fast. They're just better athletes than you. And that's one thing. I mean, I'm a Michael Jordan guy and he's still the GOAT. Athletically speaking, there's Bo Jackson and there's LeBron James in my mind. And that's it. The best athletes I've ever seen. Unbelievable. AD was kind of like that. Rock Hurt Catholic, who spoke at a company retreat. Cool. That's cool. Yeah. Okoye, they said he's been looking good. Apparently, he's put on some weight too. I think he's over 265 or something like that now. I don't think we're sleeping on him. I think that he needs to. I think he's just not quite where they want him yet. Ethan's going to continue to play for a while, guys. But you know who they were talking about though? I heard them say they were talking about Taylor Wine. Taylor Wine looking good. Swimming Legends podcast guy is hilarious. Yeah. Legend Mike is cool. Who was hilarious? Oh, Migliazzo? Dude, that's awesome. I love hearing those old dudes, those old football players talk. I love it when I see Tony Casillas on shows and stuff. He's got a podcast, but I never can seem to catch it. I don't know if he does it very regularly. Ooh, dude, I already know what that room smelled like. Nasty. Ugh. That's one of those ones that gives you the shivers because you know what that smell is. Shit. Woolard, yes, man. They're saying he's been looking really good too, huh? There's so many guys. It's so hard to remember all the guys that are flashing every day. You know, this is a great problem to have. Look, for all the talk we keep talking about, you want the finished product and everything like that, and you probably need to have it to win the Natty. I got to tell you guys, that defense being in the top 10 will change a lot of things about what you really have to have out of the offense. You probably need 3 or 4 good drives a game if this defense is what it looks like it is. And be deliberate. Score 28 and just snuff them out. Hey, Esther, what's up? Thanks for coming in. R. Mason, they said he's been looking good too. Mm-hmm. Yep. See, again, shit, there's too many of them to talk about. Yeah. It's just so crazy, right? I just can't. I was telling Mike the other day, I don't remember the last time that I could truly look at this defense and be like, oh man, they're so good. And not just talking about one, we're talking about that many guys. That's a rotation, which is what you need in the SEC. There's a rotation in the D-line area, in the tackle positions. There's a rotation on the edges. You know, some of those guys that are playing will linebacker are probably going to move down to edge at times in different formations. Zach Alley has a lot of different exotic looks that he likes to go with, I think. I think that is as big of a deal as anything, is that BV stand the hell out of the way. This is all positive movement for this program. And for his move, I mean, I wish Coach was here. And again, I hope everybody, you know, I don't know if everybody saw at the very first, but let's keep coaching our prayers and thoughts, you know, having some, you know, there's some problems with a family member that they're a little concerned about. And so let's keep them in our prayers and stuff like that. But I really I'm really waiting to do this thing on BV and being a coach. And Coach has a way about him, you know, that he had that moment where he was either going to be a family guy and stick with high school coaching, or he was going to go and coach in college full-time Division I, where you're never home. And he chose the family thing, right? And then part of it too, that they've always been very big in developmentally challenged. They've always, you know, given a lot of time to that stuff, him and Christy both. But his way of, you know, he took that college and head coach mentality that he would have gotten from college and implemented that at the high school level. And he was really big at the Texas High School Coaches Association. He was one of their officers. You know, he was right up there. He would have been a president at one point, had he stayed out there and not come to Hobbs. But this guy, I'm telling you now, because who was the coach that he's always talking about that he coached with, and he wanted him to come and be his secondary coach and like an assistant head coach when he became the head coach at Kansas. I'm trying to remember who it was. I mean, obviously it didn't work out for the guy, but he's still a good coach. He's still a college coach. He coached with that receivers coach that's at Florida now, had been at Florida in the past as well. Shit, forget that guy's name. Anyway, there was a moment that he had there, but Coach talks about how that learning curve for a head coach is a different thing. When you go, even from being a coordinator, because he was a coordinator for a long time. He was a coordinator at Midwestern State, I think. And then he went from Midwestern State. That's when he got his first head coaching job, I think. And then even there, they were killing it. You know, he worked at Waxahachie, and Waxahachie is a great program in Texas. He just talks about that difference. And he said once he's able to detach himself from that defense, and it's a hard thing to do, and realize, but there's so many other things to do. And if you don't do that, then it's hard to succeed. But you got to have guys you can trust. I don't think he trusted Ted Roof. In fact, I know he didn't. It looks like he trusts this kid. That's important. People are talking about Zach Alley being new as a detriment to Oklahoma. It couldn't be further from the truth. It's exactly opposite of that. Exactly opposite of that. Yeah. No, we're just, and I was saying that earlier, guys. You can talk about BV or B. You can talk about whatever, but something tells me that when you have to go up against those monsters that we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes on that D line, day after day after day, just by sheer repetition, they're going to be bad as shit by the time they get ready to play. That's just going to be how it is. Early 2000s defense. No, that's what DMAC was saying on K. Chris's show. Yeah. I love to see Gentry do the same. But again, there's a lot of depth there. He doesn't have to he can take his time getting there. You know what I mean? Get all the way there. Get all the way healthy, then come back. They've got enough guys to cover it until he gets there. But he is good. I love Gentry. His physicality is part of the reason he gets hurt, man. Thank you. I'll pass all that on to him too. Bro, Peyton Bowen and Bowman. Yeah, Billy, dude, you want to talk about a physical guy, and he's not big. You'll drop the boom on you, though. Baller. Peyton Bowen, though, I was watching the Lockdown guys, and they were talking about that he's starting to look like everything we thought he was. Oh, man, every time he was in, and he was hurt a lot last year, but when he was in, good things happened. I think he's going to be just fine. Yes. Jake Taylor. I like Jake Taylor. Mike McKinley. Yep. Correct. And he coached. Who was the kid that won the Outland Trophy that he coached at Wichita Falls Rider? Damn it. And then he ended up there. Nobody wanted him around Texas because he was too short, supposedly. Texas Tech didn't want him. TCU, none of those. Baylor. And Tom Osborne got him. He wins the Outland Trophy. Kenny, I think that, I don't know how simplified he necessarily made it. He probably put it in different terms than what Venables puts it in. You know how sometimes I always think about this with my kids. I could explain something to my daughter one way, and if I said that to my son, he didn't get it. And they're both smart as hell, but it was a different thing, right? With my son, the golfer, I would be trying to tell him to do a certain thing that we're trying to do this or whatever, because he's really good, but he was getting to a point where there were some things we needed to work on, just like on how to attack the golf course management, stuff like that, which that's a rabbit hole. Anyway, I would tell him these things and he didn't listen. I mean, they don't listen for shit. Buy him books, send them to school, they eat the freaking covers, right? Then he would go and some yahoo that we didn't know who the hell it was says something to him, just says different words, and it clicks. And he's telling me that like this is the first time he's ever heard it. And I'm like, fucker, I've been telling you that shit for 3 years. It happens though. Sometimes you need a different messenger. And I think that they keep calling him a clone. But like I was telling Mike yesterday, I kind of think that's a little misleading because I haven't seen him spitting fire and screaming and, put in anybody's ass yet on the sideline. Haven't even heard of it happening. So maybe it's a little different in just getting like a different voice to say the same things. Yeah. It takes time there's always going to be one side that's ahead, right, Tyler? It did hurt. It did hurt. The good news is, though, we saw Kenai Walker get better and better by the end of the year, too. Now you know that Kenai can play. You know he can play. We know that Makari can play. Jacoby Johnson probably wouldn't be getting the kind of run if Gentry was in, right? Jacoby's getting play. These are good things. He can take his time. He can take his time and get all the way healthy because, yeah, they need him. They're going to need him by the time the season's over with. You know they are. Nothing happened to him. He's got something with the family member that's not doing very well. So, but thanks for asking. Yeah, I was fixing to say you're pretty close to that 300 subs there, Legend. I saw you were at 293 earlier, so you jumped up another 3. Let's go get him to 300. Let's go. That's awesome. Man, you're growing fast, brother. Keep going. Putting in that work. Aaron Taylor, that's the one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yep. Coached him up at Wichita Falls Rider, and nobody wanted him. They couldn't get anybody to go. I mean, he ended up at Nebraska. Freaking wins the Outland Trophy. Unbelievable, right? So, pretty cool. Yeah. That's cool, right? Yep. Yeah, well, EPL's not even there yet. He's not even there yet. He's finishing up school. He's not even there for the spring. You're right. Rhyming Lemon. Man, you make me laugh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Hated watching him do that to us. Yeah, dude. That dude was a bad dude. Oklahoma didn't like him either. Yeah. Dude, this is it's spicy, all right. Competitive, right? When they start getting like that, I mean, I was fortunate enough when I was, and this is nothing like Oklahoma for sure, but in our state in New Mexico where I grew up and went to high school at, from Artesia, that's where Landry Jones went to school, and we were fortunate enough, we won state the last 3 years of high school that I was there. We were played for state my sophomore or my freshman year and got beat. But we won it the next 3 years, beat Brian Urlacher and them in my senior year. And man, our practices, they were nasty. They were a lot harder than most of our games. And that's when you knew we were real damn good. And that started like midway through my junior year, throughout my senior year. You knew Wednesdays were going to be a bitch. You knew they were going to be a bitch. We're gonna strap it on and beat the shit out of each other. And that's just how it was. Trash talking, you make a catch and you're getting, I mean, you just know they're about to deliver a hit. A slant route was going to get you destroyed. I was able to catch a ball from Brian, and Brian Urlacher knocked the shit out of me one time. And I mean, I knew it was coming. I caught it anyway. I couldn't breathe afterwards. And he was talking shit, but I could point first down. They were one of those few teams that would hit you like your team would hit you, I love it like that. Those are the best ones, right? I know it sounds like Jaden is for sure a starter. I think they're both starters by the time it's all said and done. I think they're just different cats, man. But I also think it doesn't really matter whether I think in the end, if you got to have a rotation of them anyway. You need them all to be very good. And I think that they're raising up the level of intensity for the entire group, right? Gabe was talking about that G Baby needs to gain some weight. He needs to get that weight on. Go get it done. Right? And now that you see that Stoney goes and gets it done in a matter of months, and he's probably taking your snaps. That's a motivation. That's motivation right there. Go get it done. Then you need that rotation of guys, man. You can't just have it be 2 or 3 guys. It's got to be 6 at least. Yeah. Really? Yeah. Yeah, we did the working. We played at home in the championship game against Lovington. We beat the shit out of their ass. It was close though. Midway through the third, I mean, we pretty much had kept a 14-point cushion on them most of the way. But they went and scored, and we had a drive that we had a third down that we really needed to get, or else we were gonna have to punt. And they were starting to get a little momentum. They were good. They were really good. They beat us, I think, one time from the time I was like an 8th grader. But they were, I mean, skill-wise, they were really good. And they were meaner than shit, too. But, yeah, our team was too good, man. Our team was too good. Really. It's pretty badass. Yeah, Aaron Taylor was a pancake machine. Oh, yeah. You're talking about the kicker? They said he's been looking really good. Little competition going on in that room, too. Oof. Oof. That's not fun. Yeah, when Brian hit me in that game, I caught the ball, and I'm not even really sure how I did. But I couldn't breathe. Couldn't breathe. And he's standing over me, you know, pointing at me and talking shit. I really wanted to say something back. There wasn't. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't say shit. So I just pointed first down. I'm not a huge fan of Brian Urlacher, to be quite honest with you. He was a hell of a player, though. Yeah. Dude. Brother. SEC softball's, yeah, they're going to be really good. And I think that that's what you're going to see. Well, here's the thing. Oklahoma's got to replace pretty much every starter, right? Next year. So, I mean, if they win it this year, which I assume they still are, right? I haven't seen that one dominant. I think Kelly's really good, but I haven't seen that pitcher that I just know is going to win. We don't have a Jordy Ball. I don't know. I don't hate it as much as I think a lot of people probably do. I think you hate to see all of these traditions going away, but the truth is they all are. They just all are. There's only so much TV space, though, too. And it's freaking Temple, for God's sakes. I'd feel a little different about it if it was the Tennessee game. Know what I mean? I don't really have a big problem with that. Hey, thanks, Lance. Good to see you. Appreciate that. Thanks. We appreciate it. Yeah, it's going to be good. But Bazoo, I'll tell you, the SEC's badass at softball. There's pretty much every program is really good, right? The LSU women are really good. Which Mississippi school is better? Is it Ole Miss or Mississippi State softball that's good? Florida's always really good. I know that. I don't really, and here's the thing. I don't care that it's a Friday. The Friday kick could be what I think people are pissy about. The night part, I don't care about. It's August 30th, folks. It's going to be 150 degrees. At least it's going to get dark. It'll still be hotter than shit, but sun won't be beating on you. Yeah, much better than 11 o'clock. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen all the time. And I think you're right. It's the day before everybody else plays. So I think it's a good one. I don't think it's bad. Yeah. Thank you. See, that's exactly it. What is this? Sure got a concussion from future USC linebacker Matt Gee from Arkansas City. Yeah. Those dudes that you can tell when they get out on the field, you're like, son of a bitch. Well, and Brian was a shit talker, especially once he got his motor running, and he hated Artesia, so he always had it running. But the thing about him was, and I don't want to be saying anything bad about Brian, not the sharpest. A lot of football IQ is what he had, right? So we watched a ton of film, and I knew where he was going to be. So when you were going to have to take a hit, and you'd be. I know that play that I'm talking about. I told the quarterback in the huddle, I said, "Don't fuck around, get the ball out because he's going to be there." And I was like, "Don't fuck around, get it out." He did. I still got killed, but somehow I caught it. Yeah, national exposure. It's going to be good if they have a good showing in it, which they will. It's not going to hurt anything. Yeah, that sucked with Jordy getting hurt, man. That sucks. Hated to see that. But you know what? I am glad that she got, because a lot of people were upset about that a little bit, right? I'm not at all. And knowing what she was talking about that she needed for her mental health to be able to get close to family again, her injury was God's way of giving her time with her family. So what? She'll be back. She's a freaking competitor, Jordy is. LSU. I'm not going to call him Dexter Manley. I know exactly what you're saying, Ryan. Ryman. Nope, not doing it. But yeah, football IQ. Okay. And he was mean. The dude, his thing is, I know that they used to talk about this a lot. My granddad used to coach there at that town. And this is the way they taught it. You hit the guy behind the guy carrying the ball. That's what you're trying to do. And that's what he did. He knocked the shit out of people. And he was, don't get me wrong, nobody knew that he was an NFL guy when we were playing him in high school. We didn't know that. Now, he was a stud athlete, though. But he wasn't built the way he was built by the time he got to the league. What he did at UNM was insane. He didn't even get recruited anywhere. UNM was the only, there in New Mexico State were the only two that offered him a scholarship. Texas Tech was 80 miles away. They didn't offer him one. And he was buddies with Zach Thomas, too. They never offered him one. Yeah. I think it's funny. I think it's, well, I don't know how funny it is. I think it's unfortunate that this is it super surprising? No. I mean, the guy left a freaking national champion as he was becoming a starter to go to USC. He's not happy. Seems like you might have a hard time being happy anywhere if that's the case. Pittman for sure. I don't think Beamer's really on that hot of a seat. I don't think it's that hot. Yeah. 8-man is fast break. Yes, it is. They used to have 6-man in New Mexico too. There was a town just outside of Artesia, Lake Arthur, that played it. It was a lot of fun. It was like watching basketball. 150 to 120 final scores and shit. Really, Kim? Yeah, you told me that before, that you played against Troy. Yeah. Can you imagine like catching balls from freaking John Elway? Oh. See, another Neilio nugget. Love it. Yeah, hell yeah. Matter of fact, so we need to take a look at who else plays that weekend in the area. Who is K-State playing that? Are they playing Saturday, K-State, Neil? Yeah. I played receiver and corner, but I just mostly play. And every receiver was a quarterback, so we had to play. We had to know all the positions. Yeah, that's two. It's wild. What else we got? Oof. Jarvis Landry. Oof. Yeah, man, damn. So in basketball, I played with Taman Domzowski, who's from Lovington, where Ryan's from, in AAU. We played against him a lot too. 6'10", went to Duke. And then Kenny Thomas from Albuquerque High. Got to watch him and played against him once, I think. Yeah, I played against him once or so. But AJ Bramlett. AJ was on Mike Bibby's Arizona team that won the national championship that year, beat Carolina with Vince Carter and Antoine Jameson. They were nasty. It's on Saturday versus UT Martin. We get Arizona in week 3 on that Friday night game. Okay, cool. Missouri plays Thursday of that week. Mizzou. Yeah, the first one, just that one, that first one on against Temple. Jarvis, where do I remember that name from? Where did he play at, Kim? Brent Venable, Salina. They said he was nuts, right? They said they had to pour water on his ass. I've watched that little film thing about him. Kirby Hockett, the AD at Texas Tech's always talking about it. How they had to dump ice water on him. And it was because he had that heart problem or whatever. But he would get so wound up that he'd have to get himself back cooled off a little bit. They had to do it on the sideline, be dumping ice water on him. Shit. And I would not be okay with that. No wonder he's so pissy. I don't think Temple's very good, no. They hadn't been the last few years. Now that I think of it, I think the best, I would have said that I think the best non-con game would have been the Tulane game, but Willie Fritz moved to Houston, which we played them after that. Or do we play them first? I think we played them first, right? I don't think that it may take a second for him to flip it. It took him a year to flip it around at Tulane. But Willie's a coach, man. He can coach. I was born in Oklahoma. Most of my family's from Oklahoma. Went to Oklahoma. Yeah. Grew up in New Mexico, but so there's a lot of oil field, right? A lot of oil field in OU, in Oklahoma. So the family was back and forth and like both sides of the family. And it's a lot of folks from around southeastern part of New Mexico. It's all oil field. So there's a lot of ties to Oklahoma that way. A lot of ties. And my pop was a Sooner fan. Everybody's a Sooner fan. Everybody went to Oklahoma if they went to school, you know. You like Kirby? Yeah. I've met him a couple of times. Just leave it there. I was more of a, I like Gerald Myers more. I'll put it to you that way. What's up, Robbie? Good to see you, man. Who runs the Big 12 for the next decade? They're all going to run it, man. I don't think, I said this earlier on that other show. It's going to be, I think it's, and I don't know that this is a good thing, and I'm just going to say this, Neil, but I don't think this is a good thing for the Big 12. They need somebody that can step up to the forefront, and I think they're going to cannibalize themselves year after year. It's going to be really hard to get two in every year, because I can see a lot of years that you have a 10-3 playing a 9-2 or 2 9-3s playing in the championship game. I could just see that, because I think week to week is going to be a dogfight, and I don't know that you're gonna, maybe every once in a while you get a team that's a step above everybody else, but I don't think that that's really going to be the case. I think it's going to be who survives that league, and I don't know that that's a good thing in the current way that we see this thing turning out, right? And again, I'm going to say this, and as much as I'm happy for Oklahoma being in the SEC, I don't know that I'm excited about where college football and college sports are heading. I don't. But I don't think, I think Neil said it. You're not going to run anything. Utah until he's gone. I mean, Coach Witt's there right now. But do you think Coach Witt is better than Kleinman by a lot? No, he's not. And I don't know that he's better at all than Kansas's coach. I don't know that he's better at all. Leipold, they've gotten better every year. They had, what did they have, 0 wins the year that he got there, or 1? They win 2. Then they go to 6. Then they had, 8 or 9 last year? 9 wins? And they haven't had Jalen Daniels healthy yet. I'm telling you, they've beaten everybody but K-State. Everybody that was good, quote-unquote good, in the Big 12, they've beaten them now. Oklahoma was the last one they needed to beat, aside from K-State. But that's a rival game. That's different. I'm not just giving it to Utah. And you know me, I'm a Kyle Whittingham guy. I don't know that he's a lot. I think that coach-wise, they are stacked top to bottom in the Big 12. There's just coach after coach that's really good. Really good. I think Neil Brown's a hell of a coach. I think that it's a tough place to win now. I don't know what I think about Satterfield so much. And I'm not a Gus fan, but I think Willie Fritz is a hell of a coach. And I think that David Rand is a little weird for his players. I think he's a good coach as a coordinator. I don't know that he's got it as a head coach. But Kalani Sitake, badass. Badass. Don't start counting them out. I'm telling you, BYU is going to be a problem. They're going to be a problem. Yeah. He's got a pipeline into Dallas. He's had it for a long time. This is probably going to help Utah some. But they're still not going to dominate anything. Joey McGuire's another guy. But here's the thing about Joey McGuire. The honeymoon's over there, Kim. That dude's got to win now. He's recruited well. You've lost some games that you damn sure should have won. And it's either that offensive coordinator or it's you. What is it? Go win some games. They may have just been a year behind schedule. If they turn it around this year, I think you see something different. But the people in Lubbock aren't that excited with this dude. They're not. Miranda, yeah. Yep. He may not make it very far. The thing is, I didn't think he was going to make it out of last season. I mean, they must owe him a lot of money. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, it is. It is. But I mean, yeah, he lost his top assistant, but it's to Penn State. That guy could be the missing link there at Penn State, you know? I mean, he was on the short list for Oklahoma. If they weren't going to just go with Luttrell and promote from within, they were definitely talking to him. Who the hell's the Fighting Granny Panties? What? OSU, if that's OSU, it ain't happening. They're not getting there. I'll make a bet with anybody right now that they don't make the Big 12 championship game. Okie Light. Not doing it. I got to put some of those other ones in there. BYU. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, they're going to the granny. Oh, I know what you mean now. Yeah. I agree with you, CW. I do. That's what I was saying. I don't think it's a good thing for them. You got to have 1 or 2 teams that are, are going to be there year in and year out. They don't necessarily have to win it every year. But if K-State can do what they should be able to do, which is if they could play for the championship 3 out of every 5 years, maybe win a couple of them, that might get you there. But if you don't get, and I don't know that you can do that, to be honest with you. I think if Coach Prime hangs around the way he's going to recruit, he's going to be a pain in the ass. I promise you. And I think he's going to be a pain in the ass this year. If they keep Shedeur upright, he's the best quarterback in the conference, except for maybe Jalen. But we don't know that he's going to ever be healthy long enough. You can talk about a stud. Being around him, standing next to him at Big 12 Media Days, that's an athlete, man. You can just see it on him. Not huge as far as tall, but he's just a different, you know what them athletes look like, man. I don't care that they returned a bunch. They returned a bunch 2 years ago, and they lost 5 of their last 6. And every time those dudes get up and start being cocky about, and I'm telling you another thing, not having to prepare to deal with the shit that you're going to deal with an Oklahoma team is not good for them. They're wishing for this to have the conference to themselves. They act like they're so pissy about Oklahoma going to the SEC. They love it because they think it's going to help them. It isn't. It would help them if they were still playing them. It would help them if they're still playing them. Gundy missed the boat there. They're going to lose an edge that they really, really need to be that team. They're going to be the same Oklahoma State that they've always been in the Big 12. Mid. Always. I promise you that. I believe that wholeheartedly. If I'm wrong, I will. You guys can all call me on it, but I'm telling you, 5 years from now, they will still probably not have won a conference title. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. I don't know, man. It depends on who you're listening. And I'm at the point where I just don't buy it. I think that ESPN is going to decide, but I mean, why are you going to give up a conference for free that you're making money on? It's really the only one that you got on the cheap. I don't want to get rid of my 2 power schools that are in that conference, and I'm damn sure not letting them go for free. If I'm ESPN, that's not going to happen. Great place to go, Neil. Great place to go. Crazy though. You can talk about it, and if it's a night game for sure, tough place to win, brother. Tough place to win. I think Oklahoma was pretty fortunate they got them in the daytime, but but the field was pretty jacked. Field was pretty jacked up. A lot of people are pretty upset about that. I don't know that they are. I think they could, but I'm not going to tell you. I don't know who's going to win it. I think Utah should. But that, of course, does Cam stay healthy? I mean, this is year 15. He's got, he ought to be ready to go if he's healthy. I don't know that he is. I don't know that Wild Ute. I seem to get a different feel from Wild Ute when I talk to him about that. He's a little worried, I think, too. And I don't think Witt's going to be there for much longer, by the way. But the thing about Utah is that they so don't want to be in the Big 12. I don't know that this is a good place for them. And they're never going to the Big 10. Give a shit what anybody's telling them. They ain't going. They're not Big 10 fit. They're just not. No, Cam Rising's a really good quarterback. Yep. Yeah. I like Chris a lot, Neil. I think he's a hell of a coach. Worst thing to have. I said that earlier. I've been saying that. Yeah, because Lincoln didn't give a shit about the in-state talent. That's why they were good, because he was getting all those guys that OU wasn't going after anymore. What's the first thing that BV said when he got to town? We're going to recruit the shit out of Oklahoma. You have to. It doesn't matter where you are. You have to win your state. If you want to be one of the bad boys, you got to win your state. And it doesn't matter which state it is. Louisiana's got a lot of good football players, but it's not – or Louisiana, you think there's a lot of guys that come out of there that are badasses, but all the best ones play at LSU. They just don't get out of state. Not very often, right? Time to time, Saban would get one of them, or one of them will get over to Texas. But for the most part, those dudes all played at LSU. And there's not a ton of them, but there's just enough, right? You got to win your state. Georgia's dominating now because people are not coming in and stealing from their state. Although lately, USC seems to be. What do you guys think about this? Do y'all buy into this stuff? Hank, I know you're out there still. What are you thinking about all this recruiting shit at USC? Most experienced. Did you just say most experienced quarterback about Okie Light? Or are you talking about Utah? Please tell me you're talking about Utah. Alan Bowman's been around for a while. I wouldn't call his experience good experience. No, he's not. Who said that? All right. Hold on. Cracker Mac, have you been smoking weed or drinking? I have to give this guy a breathalyzer when he comes in. Alan Bowman can't hit what do you say all the time, legend? Can't hit a bull in the ass with a bass fiddle. Did I say that right? Come on, man. The experience my ass. His experience is in getting his shit kicked. Come on. Ugh. He doesn't have more experience than Cam Rising. He sure as hell isn't better. And wait. All right, hold on. Now we have to address it. Now we got to address this. Are you seriously saying that the dude is better than Shador? He's better than Jalen Daniels? Are you kidding? Come on, bro. Now we have to address it. Get him. He didn't beat OU. Cracker Mac, you trying to get kicked out of here? Is that what's going on? He did not beat OU. That was not what did it. You want to know his numbers in the Oklahoma game? Because you're not going to look good whenever I do this. I can't believe you would come in here and say stupid shit like that. You know better than that in this town, in this freaking show. Come on. Killing me. See? Ugh. You're just telling us how little you know about football, brother. Yeah. How very little you know about football. Bowman didn't throw a touchdown. He was just over 50% passing in that game. I mean, Dylan had a better game. Period. That's not why you won. And you know damn good and well that's not why you won. Do not start that shit. And Colorado's Shador Sanders, he had comparable stats with the best players in the country without an offensive line. If he had the offensive line that Bowman played under, how many times did you see that guy throw the ball into the fucking stands instead of trying to, get a first down? He's running around out of the pocket and throws it into the stands. Dude sucks. Ask Tech fans what they think about him. Ask Michigan fans what they think about him. Clown. Now, you got to go to timeout for that shit. That's all there is to that. You can't say stuff like that and not go to timeout. Sorry. Clown. Come on, Cracker Mac. Be better. Be better. Oh, yeah. Bull in the ass of the bass fiddle. I said it right. Yeah, there we go. I don't care about who should have won the game. And I'm not saying that Colorado was good. They didn't turn out to be very good. Their offensive line was terrible. But you guys know what his stats were? I mean, you can't blame it on Shedeur Sanders. I'm going to show you that I think he's top 5 in the country. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Completions, passing touchdowns. Shedeur was tied he was up in the top 12. I think he had 27 in 11 games. I think he had like 3 turnovers or some shit. Unbelievable. He was really good. That's an efficiency. He was in the top 25 at that. I mean, he was really good. He basically had the same kind of stats as he had before that. Right. Yeah, that's not wrong. Yeah, 11 games, 3,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, three interceptions. I mean, what are we talking about here? Alan Bowman, come on, dude. I expect better. I expect better from you guys. I mean, you guys know. You're gonna come in here, you better gotta come in here with something real. If you start saying silly shit, we're gonna call you out on it. Alan Bowman had 3,400 yards, 15 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. You're telling me that's the best quarterback in the freaking Big 12? Are we shitting? Are you kidding me? No. Yeah, I also think that Coach Prime was way too adamant about him staying in the pocket and never running. The guy runs a freaking 4.3. Let him go. He doesn't have to stand there and get beat, right? I definitely, that's what I said. And look, I think that they still made a big improvement from where they were before he got there. But what I'll tell you is that the mistake I think he's made, and he's still not saying that it's a mistake, and I disagree. I disagree with Coach Prime in that he needed to keep those linemen for sure from the team that was 1-11. You should have kept them just for depth, if for nothing else. Keep them around. In fact, I think 3 out of the 5 guys that were started went on to start somewhere else last year. So you should have had them there. Dave will tell you that from David Talks Buffs. He'll tell you that. But, yeah. He had 15 TDs and 14 interceptions. A 68.7 QBR, that's 38th in the country. That's not even kind of good. It's not even kind of good. What are we talking about? I'm not an OSU fan. That's bullshit. I don't buy it. And look, anybody who comes in here and look, Cody would not come in here and tell us that Alan Bowman was even one of the better quarterbacks in the freaking conference. He won't tell you that. He likes Garrett Rangel. He doesn't want to see Bowman in. Cody watches more film, particularly Oklahoma State film, than anybody. Yes, they are. Absolutely. That's right. Look, I think that he's getting a lot of heat, and I think that he helps get that heat with the stuff that they say and the way that they do things. I don't think they're as bad as everybody thinks. And I think that still they made an improvement. They didn't go as heavy in the portal, but I still think that they're too heavy. I think that you have to build I said this, I don't know, remember what show I was saying this on. It may have been my own. When it comes to offensive linemen, when it comes to the bulk of your team needs to be, it's just like in the NFL. The winning teams win through the draft and they supplement in free agency. It's the same thing you got to do in college football. You cannot use it that way. Thank you for the super chat. I thought they were doing some kind of carnival. First time I saw Bowman trot out on the field for OSU. I laughed my ass off when they decided that was their guy to replace Spencer Sanders. They could have had Spencer Sanders back last year. Imagine the difference with Spencer playing quarterback last year. Although he was kind of bad in big spots, but he was better than Bowman by a lot. By a lot. And he could have went back. He would have went back. Yeah, because me too. Pretty funny. I wish I could change the color on that though, but that's a Google thing. That's a Google thing. Climb in. Mm-hmm. Oh man, they've got a lot of good talent in Colorado too, especially the big guys, linemen and stuff like that. They do really good there. Yeah, you've got it. Well, yeah, I don't think that. Look, man, it's been a long time since he's been a college football player, and then like he's learning it still. But he recruits pretty well if he just would stick to the recruiting. He had Darian on a list of guys that should have went to play at Colorado. The guy, my boy from San Antonio, and I mean, it makes me sick to death that he's not playing anywhere. But had he gotten into a D1 and didn't have to go to a JUCO, and it might have been different. He was a stud. Yeah. Yeah. Intentional. Thank you, Stink. Appreciate you, bud. That's funny. Look, though, I think that everybody has time to learn. And I mean, it's a learning curve for everybody. And I think that when it comes to, hey, man, one thing that Coach Prime believes in is him. He doesn't give a shit what any of us think. I respect that. I think he should listen to more of the people around him. I mean, he's bringing all these guys in that he says he trusts, but he does. I mean, he didn't trust his offensive coordinator. And I don't know that I tend to be a fan of the guy that he fired from offensive coordinator. Wasn't a fan of the way he did that either. I think the Coach Prime isn't perfect, but I also don't think that he's the devil either. You know what I mean? I just think that he's on brand. He's still being the same guy he always was. I don't know why it surprises anybody that he's the way that he is. When have you ever known him to be different? I don't remember that he ever was. Yeah. You're loving this because you don't like CU. I see where you're at, Neil. Rhyming. You know, Coach Prime don't smoke weed. He was actually bitching. I was reading that story about he did for his book. He did some kind of book signing and like a speech, and he was bitching about at the games there was people smoking weed because it's so legal in Colorado, you know. And he was like, "Man, we're right here next to the sideline, and at Folsom, the stands come right down onto the side. It's like it is at Okie Light at Boone Pickens. They're way too close to the players right there." But no, he don't smoke weed. Come on. Yeah. Look, I'm not again. I have less of an issue with Prime than I think a lot of people do, and I think that a lot of people don't like him because he's loud, he's brash, right? He tells you about it, and he's going to tell you how good he is, and that he's never wrong. And I agree that sometimes it is what it is. I think that we're going to find out a lot about him, though. Is he going to be able to? Because he's talked about a lot. I respected a lot what he said about the athletic director. That was 3 African-American head coaches in a row. He became the 3rd one, and he said, and look, as black coaches, we're sitting here wanting more opportunities, but when we get them, we're not winning. So we need to start winning. He's taking that. I mean, I don't think he's putting off the one thing I'll say is that he may be doing it his own way, but he's sticking to what he believes is going to work. And so who's he going to blame it on if it doesn't? He's not going to be able to blame it on anybody else. And I haven't seen him try to. He still believes in what he's doing. That's why I'll tell you, I don't give a shit what you think. I don't think for 1 second about what anybody else thinks about me. And I believe that that's true. I think a lot of people say that. Do you think they listen to him in the NFL? No, they won't. So if he's going to stay with coaching at all, he's got to stay there because you're going to have to win. Otherwise, you're not going to get another job. I don't think he's going anywhere. He's making more money than he's ever made. And he's made a lot of money for CU. We're talking about one season, guys. One season. 400% improvement. Not what they wanted, and definitely not enough for what they were saying. But 1 year, Shedeur can play. And Phil Lodeholt will coach up that offensive line too. You're damn right. We're going to see, man. We're going to see. Yeah. Eric. Yeah. Why do they pay him so much? Because nobody throws to him. Because nobody throws that way. I remember that time. I think it was Aikman. And they asked him, and I don't think he meant to answer the question. He was like, why would I throw it to him, though? Why would I throw it that way? It's a waste of time. I've got other receivers. It's not going to do it. I don't think there's a way he gets another job unless he's not going to get another job unless he wins here. He's got to win. You don't have to win the Natty, but you got to have a winning record over a period of time. And you've got to show that you flipped it from where it was. Because if he doesn't, he'll never get another job. If he wins, the sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. I don't think that it's look, count me as one of the people that believes he's not going to fail. I've never seen him fail at anything. I don't think you guys have either. They were raking in cash. He paid for his contract 3 times over in one season. They may not have won enough games for all the people that want to move the goalposts here now. You know, it was an improvement. He's got time. He's got a 5-year deal. We'll see if he runs away. I'll be first to admit that I was wrong. I don't think he's going to run from this because he's not. Again, he doesn't know what it is to fail, to not do what he says he's going to do. The guy he's always done it. Okay, yeah. So you win 7 games, and in a tough conference that everybody's pretty similar, right? 7 games is a hell of a year. I don't know that they can't do that. If they can just be good enough on the line to keep him upright and to keep him, and I think that Deion needs to let the offensive guy run the offense. I think that Deion needs to shut up and let Pat Shurmur call the plays. Don't get in the way of that. That's me. Deion, you go talk to the freaking corners. I'll handle this. They're running the offense. See, they were talking about in that story that they're running the Chiefs offense. That should work. Shurmur is one of those guys that comes from the Andy tree. It could work. Yeah, I'm ready to head out too. Yeah. Hey, look, I just think it's going to take time, but I also believe that it's going to be one of those things that, I think that the goalposts definitely moved, man. I think they did. And I understand why people are less apt to give him love because he's brash and he comes off as he can be an asshole. I wasn't as big a fan of him when he left the 49ers and went to the Cowboys, I didn't really like him as a Cowboy. And I can understand, but I also think I just believe he's on brand. He's just on brand. I don't agree that that's necessarily the case, Scott. I think it's easy to say that, but we don't know. His son will be in both of those kids will be in the NFL next year. So if he's still there, what will you say then? I think it's what has he ever failed at? Tell me what else he's ever failed at. Okay. Let me ask you this though, Neil. What's wrong with being about your sons though? And I don't think he's just about his sons. I think he's about the other kids in that program. And I'll tell you this much, if he does what you guys are saying he's going to do, and I'm going to split from this after this one, but he does what you guys think and splits after this year, what do you think his legacy becomes in? Because he acts like he doesn't care at all. And I don't think that he really cares about what people think about him, but it's because everybody loves him by and large that are around football. But if now you've got a huge group of guys that played for you and they all think you're full of shit, then that trickles up to the league and it doesn't do him any good. And I don't think that that's good for him. He likes being loved. I don't know. I think we all like to prognosticate on what's going to happen before it ever happens. We all do. I mean, that's what this is. This is what we're doing about everybody. We just did it about the Big 12. We've been talking about Oklahoma all day. I mean, this is what we do. I wish Coach was here. I want to talk about Notre Dame, and they're killing it and everything else too. I mean, I think that they're going to be good. They're going to have something to say about all of this shit this year. They are. I think they're going to be good. I think that in the end, they're going to be, and I don't think he's going anywhere because, again, I don't think that failure is an option for Deion Sanders. I just don't. His kids are going to go on, and that'll be fine because then he succeeded with that. But he will still have failed at something, and it'll be the first time that he ever did it. I have a hard time with it. Oh yeah, their uniforms are killer. Their uniforms are killer. I like the all whites. They look real good. All right, guys, I've been going for 2 hours. I was only planning to do like an hour. I appreciate everybody coming in here and putting up with me. Hey, keep Coach and his family in your thoughts and prayers. If you pray, please do that. Hey, we're definitely going to be cranking up all this stuff. How many of you folks are going to be going to the spring game? Let me know in the comments, whether it's here, if you're watching on the replay, let me know what that, get in there, become a member of the HOF Mafia. You guys really should be on Mint Mobile. I'm telling you, I'm not getting anybody that's really signing up for it. I promise you, it's on the T-Mobile network. It's the largest 5G network in the country. You get it for $15 a month, unlimited everything. It's worth trying it out. It helps the program, but it definitely would help your pocketbook. I'm so sick of paying extra money for freaking phones. It's just so expensive. This is killer deal. Go check it out. Show merchandise. I want you guys to help us design some new show merch that you want. Let us know what you want, man. Find somebody that can do it, right? Love having you guys in the show. We enjoy it. I enjoy this as much as anything else. I mean, this is good for even when we disagree and all that other shit. I love that. I was mostly busting other dudes' chops, but no. You can't come in here saying silly shit like Alan Bowman is the best quarterback in the Big 12. Shit. We appreciate it. Robbie, love you, man. Hey. Good. Hey, we need to all get together. We got to figure something out for it. I'm almost for sure gonna be there. But I'm excited for it. I love it. I love being here. You guys are good for the soul. Love talking to you all. Jump in there and like I said, easiest way to help us, make sure you hit that like button and tell your friends about us so we get more subscribers. If we can grow, we can continue to doing this and make it worth our while to do it. Appreciate everybody coming in. We'll see you all on the next one. Thanks a lot, guys.